are given a string and a need to count how many times a certain character appears in the given string. For example, we have a word bubble. Want to know how many times or count how many times the letter B appears in the word bubble. The right method to perform this arc is the count method. The count method of the string returns the number of times its argument occurs in the string. It returns the number of times its argument occurs in the string. Let me talk a bit on the issue of argument here. When we say argument as related to method, an argument of a method is simply what is inside the brackets of the methods. If you can remember, I told you that the method has three parts: the dot part, the name of the method, and the bracket part. And I also told you that inside the bracket there can be none, one, or more data. Okay, so the data inside the bracket is formally called arguments, and sometimes called parameter. But there is technical difference between parameter and argument. For now, let's take with the arguments, please. Okay. So the count method, reiterating myself, the count method is what we use to know how many times a certain character occur or appears in a string. For example, we want to know how many times a certain letter appears in a word. We want to know how many times a certain word appears in a phrase. We want to know how many phrases appears in a clause. We want to know how many times a certain word appears in a sentence, and so on. The count method is the right candidate here. Let's look at examples. Here, example 1, we have a string bubble. We have a string bubble. We want to know how many times the letter B appears in the word bubble. So we do this by writing the command dot count and pass pass B as a parameter or argument, as an argument to the count method, and the computer will interpret it as you are commanding it to tell you how many B's, if you like, are in the word bubble. Let's look at the output. Look at the output 3. Okay, if you can count it, you will find out that there are 3 B's in the word bubble. Yeah. So let's look at example 2. Example 2, we have a syntax, 2 sentences. Alisa is a good girl. Rumaisa is a smart girl. Dot count, and what we have as the argument is girl. Okay, so we want to know how many. Want to count the number of girl in the 2 sentences, and let's look at it. The output is 2. If you can see in this text, Alisa is a good girl, Rumaisa is a smart girl. There are 2 girls. Okay, the word girl appears 2 times in the text, as it can be confirmed in the output given by the computer. And this is example 3. I eat with spoon. I read my book. I go to school. Dot count O as arguments. passed to the count method. So let's look at the output. The output is 3. Okay, this means that there are the occurrence. There are 3 occurrences of double O in the text. I eat with spoon, I read my book, I go to school. Let's look at it. I eat with spoon. Okay, this is the first double O. I read my book. This is the second double O in book. I go to school, and this is the third double O. Okay, and you can see the output. So thank you. As summary, the count method is used to count how many times a certain character or a set of characters appear in the string.